Welcome to today's Startup Challenge number 3 video. I'm very excited for today's challenge. It's a whole new ball game for these videos today. I'm just going to go ahead and start the timer. 25 minutes on the clock. Let's see if we can get this challenge started. Really quick, if you want to see this beginning prompt, go ahead and pause the video. Take a look at that if you'd like. I'm going to submit it right now because we got a lot of work to do. So in between today's video and the previous video, we now have access to the pro tier of IdeaBrowser, and that gives us access to the agent library along with a lot of other things. Let me change the mode here to just always approve. Shift tab. Switch to auto. I think that's what we wanted, auto. So Grok can just keep running without asking for permission to do things. Oh, it's having trouble finding the idea. I pasted in the link right from the website. Maybe I should have had it pull it up through the MCP first instead. That is wasted time on my part. Okay, I think it found it. That's oops. That's a minute and a half wasted because I didn't think to do that. So I'll remember that for next time. Okay, so anyway, I was saying we now have pro access. So we have access to the MCP, we have access to the agents. So we're expanding the scope of what these challenges are about. Instead of just trying to build an MVP, just trying to build a little front-end web interaction that demonstrates the value proposition of what the business is going to provide, we're going to go all the way to building a funnel, which is what this the pro system will let us do. So what's the idea? This week's video, we're going to look at this idea: book closing service for businesses with no finance team. And so part of my initial prompt to Grok today was to give it the idea, set the parameters. Here's what we're going to do. Here's how I want it to handle the build plan of both the MVP and also the validation funnel. And so I said, you only have 10 questions. You can only ask me 10 questions instead of doing 30 or 40 questions. So let me just go ahead and answer these really quick. There's only 10 of them. Who is the seated owner? Who is this S Corp? Ah, okay. So it's a consultant who is just getting started, a YouTuber, coach. Yes, you're spot on. Small business, minimal employees or none. So the idea is book closing service for businesses with no finance team. So very, very small business, solo operator, solopreneur kind of thing. What is the one value beat on camera? The idea has 3 moments: books close, one page CPA brief. What is the hero? Oh, you can draw X this month. My default: owner opens a desk, sees safe pay plus tax reserve, downloads the brief. Agreed. Go with your recommendation. That's perfect. 1 seat or 2. Serve with a human closer. Do we ship owner only or owner plus operator? Closer reviews transactions, flags outliers, publishes the brief, and the owner sees it. Dual login, made the video. No, we don't need to do that. Let's just go with the operator, please. Oops. I love that I can click in here now with Grok Build. Sorry, owner only. Okay, number 4. Product name. Let's keep monthly for now. What does a stranger do on the page? One real CTA. Oh, okay. We want the user to, oh yeah. We want the presale. To be the CTA. 6, what's the 7-day number? Examples from the format: 10 emails, 3 calls, 1 presale. Pick one number we'll score after you post. Let's go with your recommendation. 7. Show the 300, 500 prices on the landing page. Showing prices a stronger test. No, we're saving. Oh, 2 hours of operator time a month back. At 306 for the monthly close. And report the accounting file from. Yeah. Let's be transparent on pricing. How tight is S Corp? For the MVP, we can stick to S Corp. Makes things cleaner. But if we were to expand this idea, actually try to build this, we would want to expand the scope of that for sure. Email, CTA, plumbing. Don't worry about sending emails, just write them for me and I will send them later. 10. Where are you posting the URL? What's the disclaimer line? You are posting the MVP and the landing page via Vercel. Check your agents.md in the project folder. Go. The timer is at 17 minutes. All right, so let's dive in a little bit more on this idea. So this is actually a discussion that's come up a few times in my doom scrolling on X. A lot of frustration around a particular bookkeeping provider. I'm not going to say the name, and how much they keep changing things, increasing pricing, making things more difficult. There's no desktop application support anymore. I think the most recent version you can get is like from 2011 or 2014 or something like that. And there were a couple of people kind of chiming in saying like, oh, I mean people are just going to build one with their agent, they're going to regret it. Or people are going to try to build their own version, it's going to be a train wreck. That doesn't have to be true. There's no reason that has to be true. It's not like accounting is rocket science. Accounting is pretty straightforward. It has built-in checks and balances just by design. Credits and debits, double entry accounting. Like it's designed to be idiot-proof. The question is, how much care do you take in the design of the system to make it usable for the layperson? Because someone who's in a situation like this, like the coach is a great example, right? A fitness coach or something. Someone that's running a solo business isn't going to have the time, the resources to become an accounting expert. It's very, very rare, especially if you put yourself through school for physical therapy or something like that, right? Coaching or whatever. It's not going to be about how powerful the solution is. It's going to be about how clean the solution is. How clean of an experience is it? And it's funny because around the time when I was looking at these comments on X and thinking about tackling this project for myself personally, that's when this idea hit from IdeaBrowser and the team, was to have this kind of solution built out anyway. So let's just look at some of the research here while Grok does all the heavy lifting, right? What's the search volume on cloud accounting packages? So between the beginning of 2025 into 2026, the search volume has exploded for cloud accounting packages. Why is that? Why would that be? Does that correlate to someone else announcing an increase in their pricing? Bookkeeping service, pretty flat. This was just an anomaly. We can ignore that one. Online accounting, steady growth here. Steady growth. 20,000 search volume in July 2022. We're up to 74,000 in April of 2026, and presumably May as well. Huge growth. Outsourced bookkeeping, big anomaly in 2025. Still pretty steady though. Pretty consistent around 2,000. So there's clearly demand. Bookkeeping services for small business. And it's important, the target is not for a growing business that's quickly approaching the 20 to 50 employee mark. That's not the goal here. The niche for this solution is for solo. Maybe you have a couple of subcontractors. Maybe you have a part-time employee. Maybe you've got a couple of invoices on the outbound. Maybe you don't even have payroll yet, right? Like, you still need to be able to track expenses, categorize them properly, and have clean books, especially if you're trying to estimate how much you should be submitting to the IRS on a quarterly basis. That's exactly the kind of thing that this tool would do, and doesn't need to really compete with the incumbents that have been working their way up out of the solopreneur kind of market. So I love this assessment here, right? IdeaBrowser is saying that this opportunity is an 8 out of 10. It's solving a problem that's a 9 out of 10. Feasibility is 8 out of 10. And why now? Is timing is perfect. Great timing. And here, execution difficulty, 4 out of 10. I think this is achievable. And another thing that I really like about this business idea is that it is a boring business. Accounting is a very boring business. It's always going to be there. It doesn't fluctuate. It doesn't change. It doesn't get, you're not chasing the latest trend or latest fad. If it's a clean solution, if it's easy to understand, and you don't play any kind of shenanigans, it just works. And that's just the way that it is. So I'm curious to see what Grok comes up with. So we're 5 minutes in from when we answered the questions. 12 minutes left on the timer. Grok's got 3 sub-agents, so we're building an S-Corp checklist guide. We're building the landing pre-sale page, and then also building the dashboard itself for the MVP demo. I would imagine Grok will be done in less than 5 minutes from now. Just from the experiences that I've been having lately with Grok Build, running Grok 4.6 high. I was working on a project very recently where I actually had 15 sub-agents all working concurrently, and it's been phenomenal for me. Grok 4.6 has been absolutely amazing this past week, getting some big projects done for me personally. And so the other thing that I did, other than connecting the IdeaBrowser MCP, is I think it's a plugin. I connected Grok Build directly to my Vercel account. So we're not going to have to, in the first 2 challenges, everything was run localhost to show the MVPs. We don't have to do that anymore. So right from Grok, we're going to have the Vercel hosting both the landing page and also hosting the MVP demo, so that you as the viewer will be able to interact, take a look at it, see if it's something that you would be interested in, and then vote on the landing page. If this is something that you would actually be interested in using, I'll build it. I mean, that's the whole point of the exercise, right? Part of the idea behind doing this on a weekly basis is to build the momentum, to build the comfort level between you and myself, to actually start delivering on some of these projects. The first one that we did, the agent ready independent food place one, like that one is going to be very targeted. I will have to go out and market that one. I'd have to go to a bunch of independent restaurants and places and actually really go hand to hand to try to market that idea. Similar with the second one, right? The second one is very targeted. I have to go find local gyms, right? Local coaches, and go really, I would have to put myself out there to go find those people and validate the idea, see if it's actually worth building for them or not. This one though, this one applies to you. If you're watching this video, this kind of service is probably something that you could use for what you're doing. Maybe for your side hustle, side business. If you've actually got an LLC going of some kind, and that's how you're accounting for your business activities, this might be something that really helps you. My original idea in this vein was to recreate a previous solution that doesn't exist anymore. So if that sounds interesting to you, let me know in the comments, or comment below on this X post, and we will see how it goes. I like this idea. I really, really like this idea. This is the perfect kind of business, and it's the perfect time. So we got Grok thinking on the last sub-agent, building the MVP for us. It's updated its project notes. Lots of things are complete. Let's see if we can go to the pre-sale page right now. While it's thinking, let's try this. So here we go. This is already ready to rock and roll. This is the pre-sale. I'm still interested to see what Grok comes back with in its final message, kind of summary of how it went in the build. This is pretty awesome though. I'm really excited about this. Like going from just trying to build an MVP to now we're going to try to validate if it's even worth continuing with the business idea. I'm super excited about that. This is the natural progression for these challenges. So let's just read some of the copy here while we're waiting for Grok to finish up here. So the shoebox problem: receipts pile up, expenses get guessed. The tax bill is future use problem. Pay is whatever the account can spare. Draws are lumpy, so the months between big invoices quietly eat the reserve. The CPA rebuilds your year by the hour. The shoebox of receipts cost thousands in April, and the numbers were off from the start. Gusto stops at the paycheck. Payroll runs, but nobody sets the reserve or checks the draw against the safe harbor. The monthly answer: a monthly close you can afford, and a human who checks it. Everything sorted every month. Oh, so this is like the MVP version from the IdeaBrowser prompt, is to, when it's still manageable, have a human check. Builders are done, merging, type checking, and checking. So Grok's going to keep running for a minute to validate everything that the sub-agents did, and then it might have to go back and adjust a few things. Owner pay math with a safe harbor. The draw is checked against estimated taxes. See taxes and a fixed cost buffer, not the account balance. Human review at month end. An operator checks the close and writes the brief so the books stay accountant ready. How it works: 4 steps, 0 finance team. This is the tricky one, I feel like. This is the one that is interesting. That's worth a whole discussion of connecting your account to a bookkeeping system is creating a massive amount of money for the connectors. And as far as my limited research shows, it's not possible. If I build a system like this, I am not able to connect directly to the banks. I have to go through a third party like Plaid, and for each account connection per month, there is a fee. I forget if it's like $1 or less than $1, but it's like $1 per account per month for that connection between the system that I build and your bank. So Plaid is printing money with every account that it's making connections between. But then the service provider is the one that has to pay it. The bank doesn't pay it. Plaid doesn't pay it. The service provider pays it. So that's why it would be difficult to price a solution like this at a really, really cheap cost and offer connections. If you eliminate the connections, you could price a system like this at a very, very, very low cost. But you'd have to go to your bank, export the CSVs, and then upload them into the system, which is, again, that's another thing to think about. We sort, merchant rules categorize everything, anomalies, services, flags, we close and reserve, month-end close, tax reserve, safe owner pay, then a human review. You get the brief, one page where the money went, what to reserve, and what you can take. Your accountant files from it, you sleep on it. What's going on here, Grok? So it's running into some issue. Oh, dev server is ready. Then deploy. So it's just double checking, and then it's going to deploy. Income 41.2, expenses 19.4, net 21.8, reserve for taxes 11.2, safe to pay yourself 8.4. So this is for like pretty big MRR kind of companies, especially at these prices, right? Like the bookkeeping itself is cheaper than this, so I kind of feel like this is priced a little too high, I think. But I mean, we'd have to validate that, right? I'm tempted to click this button, but oh, that's to go to sign up. We're waiting for .app/app to be ready at this point. These will probably just be local links. Yep, these are just linked on this page. Start free demo just takes you to the sign up page. I don't think this sign in button is going to do anything, but let's see. 2 minutes remaining on the clock. We'll see if we get there, or if Grok can get there, I guess. Vercel, oh, okay. So we're plugged into Vercel now. We're deploying the project to Vercel, hopefully as a new project. Regenerating the deploy payload with the log fix and reading the remaining source files. That uses a Vercel API if I can find a token, if I can load the 3 parts and assemble the deploy. I had a conversation with Grok before starting, hitting the record button to see if we had everything in place for Vercel, and it said everything was ready to go. Yeah, there you go. Use MCP deploy to Vercel. Correct. That's what's in the agents.md. I'm calling Grok him. Took him a minute to remember or figure that out. One minute left. Down to the wire. We've got the landing page, which is something that we've never had before. Now we just need the demo. And this is with the timer set to 25 minutes. So let's see. We'll see if we can go into overtime. The reason why I try to cut it a little bit short is because my camera will only record in 30-minute segments. So then I have to pause the screen recording and restart the camera and then restart the screen recording. But I like this idea, so we'll go as long as it takes. We'll go until we're done. Timer's at 0 now. Done. So Grok set a timer for itself. Does that make sense? I've never tried that before. I've never seen that before. Interesting. I wonder if I've made a mistake by telling it that there was only 17 minutes. All right, so the timer is done. We'll get this out of here. We're done with that for right now. We're in overtime. Let's see. I wonder what happens if we just try to navigate to the page anyway. Let's see what happens. Did it create fake auth to try to not be able to log into this page? That would be interesting. I'll write a Python script that uses the MCP. I can't. Run, minimize, deploy payload to build files only. 41 files. This might have been a little too ambitious for our challenges. Even though we tried to limit the scope, it still might have been a little bit too much. 174 lines, 106 kilobytes. Read file default is 1,000 lines. Pre-sale CTA starting the deployment. Setting up the pre-sale flow. Oh, it started monthly locally. That's interesting. That's interesting. Let's see if I can catch it while it's still running locally. I don't know what port it's on though. What does this button do? 3, 4, 5, 6. Here we go. Okay, so here it is running locally, really quick. This is basically similar to the landing page. CTA, hold a spot. Okay, okay, very cool. So here's the demo. Here is our MVP, right? You've already done all of the accounting, you've already put in everything into the system, and so you're asked, you want the value that this system is providing to you is letting you know based on what your expected, outlays of costs and expenses would be. Here's where it's safe to pay yourself. Here's how much you should leave in the account for taxes. And then you want to transfer those at least quarterly. You can do it monthly if you want. It's up to you. How much you've already taken. Open a brief. Got to fix some of this, right? Possible duplicate annual Adobe July 5th, 890. I believe that. That's personal looking charge. Whole Foods, you want to make sure that you either reimburse the company or make sure that if this was like a lunch with some a potential sales call or something, you want to make sure that gets documented correctly to satisfy the IRS. And then July transactions, flying, YouTube editor, contractor. I need one of those. That would be great. Gusto. So I think this looks pretty good. This is our month end MVP. What the service is providing. So let's go look at June. Okay. So obviously we're not going to do, if just being a demo, just being an MVP, it's not going to do everything, right? Okay, and then August is currently open. So we're just showing basically just July. Home little guide. Okay. And oh wow, look at this. Okay, so every month this gives you the checklist of what you need to capture in order to have the system give you good output. I'm going to call it here on the timer. We've passed our 30 minutes. As far as achieving the startup idea challenge of 30 minutes or less, this challenge is unfortunately our second failure. But I think this is an overly ambitious challenge. This is a bit much. But I think most of the issue here has just been the Vercel connection. As we can see from the local demo here, it was ready. It was working in less than 30 minutes locally. I guess just the deployment. So I mean, technically it was built in less than 30 minutes. So as far as finishing the scope, I think we can call that a success. But actually, I wanted it deployed to Vercel in the 30 minutes. So I guess, you know, execution wasn't great, but we got there. We got there. We won't chalk this up as a total failure. We'll call it a failure with a caveat. How about that? So let's read through really quickly what this checklist is here while the local server is still running. Capture every bank and card transaction. Split out personal versus entity. Never net them in your head. Flag personal spend that hit a company card. That is an owner item, not an expense. Flag company spend that hit a personal card. That is reimbursement or contribution. Record both as their own lines. A wash in your head is how the books lie. Rent, groceries, or a personal subscription on an Indie card is not office unless it actually is. Categorize them. Revenue, COGS, contractors, software ads, travel. Owner, 1 bucket per line. Record W2 reasonable compensation already paid. An S Corp owner takes a salary. This line is not a distribution. Record 1099 contractors. Track year to date. Compute profit before owner draw. Start with revenue collected in the period. Subtract operating expenses. Subtract W2 already paid. What remains is profit before owner money. Set estimated tax reserve, federal and state. Peel estimates off the profit before you pay yourself. If you prepay estimates equal to what you owed last year, or 110% if last year's income was high, the IRS generally will not penalize you for underpaying during the year, even if this year is bigger. And we definitely do not want penalties. Decide owner distribution. Transfer reserve to a separate savings bucket. If you're going to send it to the IRS and you want to get a little bit of decent interest on the money, X Money is a great place to put that. That is not an ad, just my opinion. Having a lot of trouble with Vercel here for some reason. My apologies. I thought I had this set up already. Export a 1-page brief for the CPA. Just the big numbers. Send it. Do not wait until they ask in March. Yeah. The cool thing about this particular solution, if we start validating this for real to build something like this, is that it really doesn't need to start until January. Because at this point in the year, let's say we try to build more than just an MVP, and we put a lot of time and effort into it. It takes about a month, let's say. That's going to put us in the middle of September. October, November, December doesn't really make sense unless you're going to go backwards and you've kept everything January, February, March, April. It doesn't really make sense to start a thing like this at the end of the year, in my opinion, if I was going to use this, I would just start fresh in January. And because the tax estimates that we're talking about correspond with your personal taxes, I mean, I could be completely wrong. I'm just making a big assumption here. I'm assuming that a lot of solopreneurs, this type of S corp situation, where it's someone out on their own, very, very, very small business, the fiscal year is going to match the calendar year, only because calendar year is where your personal taxes fit. It's when you start to get into much larger organizations that fiscal doesn't match calendar. But I mean, I need to validate that. That's just an assumption. No anything weird for next month. Close the period. This is 10%. What's 10%? Monthly does the close with you. You can run this list yourself. What you cannot buy back is the sitting, the owner pay math, and the one-page brief we stand behind. Capture through close every month, so we're not reconstructing July and September. Hold a founding desk at $300 a month. What does this is 10% mean? Still not getting there with the Vercel, but I think we're pretty much there on the video. We've been able to see, I bet if I click print this page, it's actually going to print out the checklist page. Oh, this is going to take us back to the demo. Let's go back to the demo. I think that's going to pretty much do it for now. Did we finally get there? Thank you so much for joining me on today's Startup Idea Challenge number 3, trying to build out the monthly closed desk. If you're interested in a solution similar to this, adjacent to this, very similar to how some of our incumbent solution providers used to operate, please let me know. Please comment on the video, send me a DM on X, reach out, spread the word. We'll build it together, build it in public, make everything. Won't make it open source because you want to be careful with financials and stuff like that, but you can be pretty transparent about what the goal is, what the timeline is, and what the objective is. So if that is of any interest, please let me know. Please reach out in some way. If you enjoyed today's Startup Idea Challenge video and you're watching on YouTube, I would appreciate if you'd hit the like button and subscribe. That sends a strong signal to YouTube that you like this kind of content, you want to see more of it. And if you're on X, we've just learned very recently that if you actually click the share post button and send this to your friends, that actually is one of the top 2 signal amplifying actions that you can take. So if you share this X post with your friends, send it to them in a DM, post it somewhere else, post it on your timeline or whatever, that would be awesome. But what I'll do is once Grok figures out this Vercel situation, as posts under the video, as description in YouTube, I'll put all the links up there, link to the demo, the MVP, link to the CTA, the landing pages, and you can let me know if this is of interest, if this is something that you'd like to see become more than just an idea, have it actually become a service that you could use. But that's it for me on this video today. Thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. See ya.